Hello and welcome to Astro Mingle, the spiritual podcast that mingles with the talented light workers and the innovative influencers of our time. And I want to say from my own heart, happy birthday to our company, Sirius Joy. Sirius Joy is 10 years old today. It was 10 years ago that we sent our first text message. I don't think we've probably sent millions of text messages because we do 7 a day per customer. And I can't believe how fast the time has flown for over a decade. And if you're curious, yes, Sirius Joy, the company, which is here to help people step into the light, step into their heart, and heal their spiritual damage. We are a step 13 Virgo. So step 14 Virgo, excuse me. We're in our minds. We are here to help people get it and understand it. We have a Gemini rising, which makes us a communicator. And we have a Grandmaster Solar Eclipse in Pisces, if you know what that means. So happy birthday. And to all of our staff, everyone who's been a part of this, and all the people who've watched for all these years, 10 years now of this brand. We're so grateful. Thank you for being with us. We'll live another 10. All right. So I am absolutely intrigued by the field of human design, guys. It's something I have not been able to dive in and learn like I want to, but it's why I'm thrilled to welcome tonight's guest, Tangie, known as the Feel Good Expert. She's a certified human designer reader and a life coach who built passionate community of thousands of people deciding to helping them to decode their unique energy patterns. And that's sort of how this works. She's known as the Human Design Coach's Coach and is the author of the Human Design Chart Reading Journal. Human design, if you don't know, combines astrology, quantum physics, and ancient wisdom, different systems to help you make decisions and understand your authentic self. Tangie's superpower is making this complex system really practical for everyday life. So get ready for a conversation about how to feel good by design, not by accident. Please join me in welcoming Grand Master, Step 13 Aquarius, Tangie, the Feel Good Expert.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. I wonder what a human design chart would be for us. That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting. I pulled a human design chart for my business, and it is a fascinating thing to kind of reflect on. Same as astrology, where you would look at a natal and a business. But yeah, right. That would be fun.
And so it falls kind of in the line as it would a human being. You just see it right away. Your business's issues and come out in the design.
Yeah, I mean, I would look for strengths first.
Right, me too.
But the issues might be there too, yeah.
Wait 10 years, darling. No, they come. No, I'm kidding. So you're known as a feel-good expert. I have to say, I already feel better with you on the show.
Okay.
What made you choose this title, by the way? What does feel good mean to you?
Oh, that's such a good question. So in human design, one of the core principles, core tenet of human design is to take all of the messages that you get from authority outside of you and learn how to trust your own inner authority. We have like 9 different types of authority. You're emotional authority. I'm splenic authority. And splenic authority wants nothing more than to feel good, to feel safe, and to feel healthy. So just that being my chart is just kind of my life's mission, is to do things that feel good, that feel aligned for me, and not ask the question, is it okay if I feel aligned, right? Is it okay with you if I feel good? I just live my own authority and do everything in my power to feel good all the time.
Huh. And somewhat Aquarian, I would say, to some degree, pulling from that. But
sure.
So I'm a water, you said, base or an emotional base, right?
Emotional authority, yeah.
So I'm here just to be moody this lifetime. Like, what is that about?
No, a lot of people get the emotional authority mixed up. So authority. Have you seen a human design chart?
Oh yeah, I've seen mine too. I mean, I'm just
asking for a friend. Looks like chakras, right? You have all these shapes.
Yeah.
And based on what you have colored in and what you don't,
yeah.
Okay, we choose one of the shapes like your MVP. Like all of them matter. Some of them are more consistent than others. And then there's one that's like really important for you. It's your decision-making process. We call it emotional authority because it is the solar plexus center. So there is an emotional awareness that goes with it.
Yes.
What people mix up about emotional authority is that it also gives you energy for depth and thoroughness. And I was really watching this behind the scenes, like this energy that you have to really stick with something until it's right, until it feels right for you. It's exactly how you want it. And not everybody has the energy to like stick with something and see it from every angle and really, really thoroughly apply their energy to it. And that's the basis of being an emotional authority being.
Wow. And it's true, which I kind of have attributed to intuition, coming through that same portal to some degree. That was just my guts telling me. But yeah, even when I was a kid, I was looking for that feeling when it felt right. I knew to go. Yeah. Yes, 10 years I've been stuck with. So I am definitely stubborn about emotion. So there's many people who are watching this for the first time and understanding about just human design for the first time. What exactly is the system for those people, and where did it come from? Because it's modern. It's not like ancient Mesopotamia.
Yeah, it's not so old. It came about in 1987 and it was channeled. Okay, so through a man who renamed himself Ra Uruhu. Before his name was Alan Krakauer. He's from Canada. But he was living in Ibiza at the time, you know, doing some drugs off and on. But he swears up and down he wasn't on drugs when he channeled this message. But anyway, he wasn't a spiritual person. He didn't believe in astrology, nothing.
Really?
And all of a sudden, he had this download that said that you could synthesize 4 ancient systems and create a whole new system from it. And that is astrology, the Hindu Brahman chakra system, mystical Kabbalah, and the I Ching. And so you see the foundations of all 4 of those systems in this system, right? So the body graph, it's very clear that we're using chakras because you have those 7 right down the center.
Yeah.
And we have 2 extras because human design has to be, you know, special. The lines are coming from the tree of life in the Kabbalah. If you look at it, it kind of looks very similar if you turn it upside down. The I Ching is all about hexagrams and these 6 lines. That is all over human design. And then, of course, astrology, like your natal chart is in your human design chart. It's the exact same thing. So when you tell me that's a very Aquarius thing, yes, that's what activates my chart is my natal chart. The difference about human design, though, is that we use 2 dates. So we have your conscious wiring based on your natal chart, your moment of birth. But the belief system that belongs to human design is that there's an unconscious chart as well. And it happened before you were born, right? So it's like when the soul actually entered this vessel. And so there's part of it that governs your DNA, your ancestry, your physical body. And then there's this part that is validating for you. It's who you think you are. So human design takes all this stuff and puts it together and gives you the chance to kind of understand how you see yourself, which I think astrology does really well, but also helps you understand how others see you and that experience that they have. And like your chart is split. I don't know if anybody's told you this before, but your conscious part is very mental, right? So this is like, you're like always getting these ideas and perspectives and things that you want to structure out and explain and discuss, but everybody else sees this more grounded, emotional part of you that's always moving things forward, that's very intuitive, that, you know, uses the gut intuition, but you have these 2 things at once. And that's what's interesting about human design is you have some unconscious, you have some conscious, but it all kind of mushes together and tells a bigger story.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I've looked at I've run an astrology chart 88 days before I was born. So using my own language, tried to decipher, you know, what the hell's going on back then. It's roughly a square and also 1 Mercury transit around the sun. So that's interesting. So 1 Mercury or orbit and boom, you're born. Mercury does the countdown from 88. But what's interesting about it was like, I didn't identify with it personally at all. Like, I mean, not personally in the sense of like close to my heart. Like, so it didn't feel like my essence. It felt kind of like my goal. Like, it kind of felt like kind of what I would maybe aim to be, for instance.
Yeah. Well, I always tell my clients, this is what's unconscious to you. You might not immediately look at it and go, yeah, that's me. That's the other side. That's your personality side. If I want to convince someone of something, I will convince them of what they think they are. But the unconscious side I use often with my clients to say, hey, this is people's first experience of you. You might not know this about yourself, right? It's your skin. It's like what people bounce off of it that you didn't really know because you were kind of stuck in your head.
Yeah, totally. Grand Trine. And I saw I'm a 22-degree Aquarius, which ironically is our co-host and lead astrologer on Sirius Joy. Robbie is 22. So my co-host is my soul chart. What is that? My creation chart. So yeah, I've casted my creation chart as my co-host. That's interesting. Well, it's I Ching, it's Kabbalah, chakras, and quantum physics, which I guess it had to be in the 80s to download. How do these pieces work together? I mean, is there, there must be a connection or a bridge between them. Do you know that? Is there one?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the chart, you kind of see that it's like a puzzle. Everything kind of fits together. And once you've looked at enough human design charts, you see all of these basic systems kind of coming through, and also like the philosophy of the systems. And so it's a good opportunity to learn and to reflect when you look at your chart and you go, okay, that resonates, that's me. And then you say, this is myself and this is my not self. And you're able to look at it through this like shadow, light, and neutral. You're able to look at this through like levels and energy and aura. And so, yeah, I could, if I had it on I use my hands to talk all the time. If I had it on the screen, I could show you, but you see the chakras and the shapes. You see the tree of life in the lines. These are called channels in human design.
Okay, I see.
You see the I Ching, okay, because it's 64 ways of decision making. It's ancient Chinese divination. You see that in the gates. So when you look at the gates, it only goes up to 64, and those gates are on either side, on either column, and also on the body graph. And so now you kind of mush all of these things together, and you see, okay, this is a way to embody ancient wisdom. It's a way to embody the philosophies that are the foundations of this entire system, and to embody it from your own unique perspective, right? Everybody's got their own rose-colored glasses for this lifetime. And so when you look at this chart and you go, yeah, that's me, that resonates for me, I feel like I'm on an emotional wave, or I feel like I'm very deep and thorough. Now you can look at that specific center and understand the light, the shadow, and the neutral expression of it. And you go, okay, I'm a creative force in this energy. And here's how I manage the energy for myself, so that now I'm making decisions correctly, and I'm living very comfortably in my own aura.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see that. So the overlays are almost like plugins, in software, like just adding additional features, it sounds like, which is what the steps do for astrology. I see that. And it looks like they physically overlay. It sounds like, so the way you talk about it is like, it's almost the glyphs themselves have some sort of like, we're part of a major piece of monument or something. But yeah, and I would say human design is really compelling, because there are things that astrology can tell you that. From what I understand, astrology cannot tell you that. The shades of gray, for instance, that's not really expressed. You can see like darkness and like complete holes, but not shades of, and auras and things like that. And the most compelling were the manifestation types, like the way you manifest and draw things to you. I still can't figure that out in astrology as far as what's differentiating those. What do you think what makes human design different from, personality tests or spiritual systems like astrology, or perhaps, I don't even know, other ones? What makes it different about it? Is it the hybriding of all of it, or is there an essential like purpose to it, like your life purpose?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely different from personality tests, because personality tests, you're gonna be the input, right? So it's already what you think you are, and you're just getting that reflected
and
back.
changing to get it right, like.
And you want to say it right. You want to be like the best person.
Totally.
And then astrology, I love astrology, but when you look at a natal chart, especially as a beginner, it's disembodied. And when you look at a human design chart, like, it looks like a body, like it immediately triggers you to kind of feel into the energy that you're walking around with, right? It's a little less mental. And then the other thing is the conscious and the unconscious, right? To be able to go, okay, maybe there's a side of me that I don't quite understand yet, or a side of me that other people can better articulate or share to me that I don't get. And now I can become a more whole feeling person, because I'm not stuck in my own head, right? In this confirmation loop, affirming who I think I am back to myself. I get to have the experience of going, is this how you see me? And people going, yeah. And me going, oh, I never knew that.
Oh, that is interesting too. Yeah, that's not something you get in astrology either. I don't
Exactly.
think except for the rising, that's a little bit of subtlety thing. But so when someone gets their human design chart, I mean, it looks kind of foreign and alien, kind of, and they're looking at it and they're thinking, what am I supposed to do with this? I mean, what does someone, how do you even start? How do you even crawl in human design? Because it seems like I have to know all the parts at the same time.
The foundations of human design are to pull your chart and understand your strategy and your authority. So your strategy tells you what type you are and how to manage that aura. So we have 5 different types.
Okay.
And each type is going to have its own strategy, but it's a strategy for managing your energy and your aura, like the best way to show up and get the best reaction, right? When you interact with others. And then your authority says, okay, now that I know how to manage my aura and pull back my energy and really understand how this vessel works, now how do I make a good decision for myself? So for example, you're a generator and your strategy is to wait to respond. Okay. So
yes.
A lot of people don't get that, right? They're like, what do you mean? Like, you want to ask me something and then I give you an answer? We're not talking about verbal response. We're talking about an embodied response, because your body wants nothing more to get that like enthusiasm, that excitement, those creative juices going and going, I want to put my energy there. It's a motor. That's where I want to put my energy. So every generator has the sacral, and the sacral way down here, you know, in the reproductive area goes, I want to create something, and I want to be excited about what I create, and I want to finish it, and I want to feel satisfied that I finished it. So that's your strategy, right? To go, okay, I need to wait to respond, because if I wait to respond, my energy backs me up. If I don't wait to respond, I go right to my crown center and I overthink everything. What's the right answer, and who can I find? Where can I find them, right? Who has the answer? What's the next inspiring thing? I got to get inspiration. I got to figure it out. I got to think harder. And human design teaches you to have this strategy for managing that energy. Get out of your head and then make decisions that are correct. So once that sacral kicks in, your decision-making process, second in line, once the sacral kicks in, you go, okay, I'm excited, but I am a very thorough person. I am a person that really takes my time with things. So I can't give them an immediate yes, because that's what they'll always expect. They'll always expect me to move fast, and I don't move fast. So I'm going to tell them, even if I'm excited, I'm going to say, I'm going to sleep on this, and I'll come back to you tomorrow, because I want to pace you so that you're ready for the energy, for the space that I take up, right? For this emotional authority that I carry. You can't turn it off. So you have these two motors that are part of your process that says, I'm all in when I'm all in. When I'm all in, I want to commit all my energy to it.
Right.
But you have to set the pace for everyone around you, right? That's your strategy and your authority, looking at your chart specifically.
No, it totally is. Exactly. And, you know, I get criticized for being too fast. Start setting the pace, doing too much too fast. That's one of the big things. And my famous, you know, saying is, I'll get back to you, you know, because I'm too caught up in your feelings in front of you to get a clear read for myself anyways. And then sometimes I'll be like all night, I'm like, fuck that. No way, no fucking way. And the next time I wake up, I'm like, you know, it'll be all right. You know, my feelings just shift and then something passes. So yeah, I definitely get that, the emotional authority and where that comes from.
So every type has the potential of their strategy, and then a unique authority. So even though you're a generator with emotional authority, there are other types that are generators that are sacral authority. For example, I'm a projector type, so no sacral center, and my authority is splenic, right? So there's no motor involved in my decision-making process. Really, I'm always thinking, is this going to feel good? Is this safe for me? Is this healthy for me, right? Usually it's not that I get this full embodied, I have all this energy. Yes, it's more, no, I don't think I can sustain that. And that's just the answer. Body won't go is my famous quote.
No, I have the energy. In fact, I can wear my body out.
Yeah.
You wear my body out.
3 out of 4 motors, but you have one motor fully open, and that can be a really big distraction for you.
Oh, is that what it is? Is it a big motor that's open? Because it seems like it's open constantly. Yeah, it's open 24 hours, I think.
Yeah. Well, this is where I guide my clients. So if you're brand new to human design and you're looking at a chart and you go, what the heck, right? There's so much happening. The things that are colored in on the chart are consistent for you. You can consistently create from this space, and you have 7 out of the 9 centers colored in. So there's like a lot of energy for consistent creation, expressing yourself, creating new perspectives, right? Like changing directions if you want to, having the energy to sustain many things.
Yes.
My chart has 7 undefined. Okay. So only 2 are colored in. And anytime we have something that's not colored in the chart, it doesn't mean we don't have it. It doesn't mean it's closed off. It doesn't mean we're faulty or bad. It just means this is an open space, right? So you get to play with that energy. It comes and goes. But when you put this narrative on yourself that this is what I'm missing, and I need to find it. This is what I'm missing, and I have to get more of it, right? Now you get in trouble, and this happens with your most open center. So looking at your chart, the things that are colored in, you can rely on that. That's consistent for you. That's where you're going to find your strategy and authority. The things that are not colored in, you need to be a little bit more relaxed. Allow it to surprise you. Don't try to make it consistent. And your most open center, so if you're looking at something that's like fully white, there's no gates, that's going to be a big theme of distraction for you. It's going to pull you out of yourself and make you think that you're not enough. And so this is what I teach, right? These narratives that we create for ourselves, and to go, you know what? You're not built that way. You can just leave that alone. You can just tell yourself there's nothing to do when these, so you and I share an open ego center. It's the tiniest little triangle in the chart. And the ego center tells us we need to have more will. We need to have more willpower. We need to have more motivation. We need to put our heart into it. We need to try harder. We need to make ourselves proud. We need to make our families proud. And we can make everybody proud, and we can underpromise and overdeliver. Then they'll love us and everything will be fine, right?
Yep.
And so when you get into that black hole, it's a bottomless pit. You feel like you can't escape it. Right. And so knowing that that exists in your chart, you can go, oh, here comes my not self again. There's nothing to do. And the same thing would happen with you, because the only centers you have undefined are fully open, no gates. So it can be a very wide pendulum swing of, I know everything, I know nothing. I know everything, I know nothing. Overthinking would be a big theme for you too in this chart.
It was in the beginning, not anymore. I mean,
yeah.
I progressed as a Cancer now, and I'm more chill. I definitely feel that. Yeah, which has helped seeing the emotions of it. Plus, I'm just tired of thinking. Like, just get to, if thought I don't want to think about it again. Yeah, just get tired of it. Once a person knows their chart, how much change do you think that they're going to be able to, have in the world? Like, how much are they going to really? Do they really can just take it by the steering wheel and steer, or is it a practice and disciple thing where you're like over time, like wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off?
It's definitely a practice, and the language of human design is pretty shocking. Like at first glance, it's jarring, but it also makes it very intriguing. So it takes a while to actually understand what is being said. So like the wait to respond thing, I explained it to you. I've explained it 1,000 times, because at first glance, you're like, wait, what did you just say? How do I do that? What does that mean? And then when you understand it at a deeper level, you go, okay, I'm going to practice that. And then you practice it and you make mistakes, and you practice more and you make mistakes. And then you get to this point where you're like, oh, okay, I understand how this changes my energy. And then you get to this level of self-acceptance, right? You go, that actually worked. I feel good about myself. And when you have that understanding of yourself, you go, now I can allow other people to be who they need to be, because they're so different from me. And so I think it creates this ripple effect in everything that you do and every interaction that you have. I mean, astrology, human design, any spiritual system that you would dive deep into, and it would offer you a moment of self-reflection, gives you that opportunity to go, oh, right, this is only my perspective, but it's not everyone's, right? It's only my experience.
Well, yeah. And it's interesting too. I mean, when I meet a human designer, I immediately think they're going to be cool, because I know they're going to see me for who I am and not judge. There's like a certain tone of energy around those people, and I can see where getting into the flow of knowing yourself just chills you out in life, period. Excuse me. It seems like human design is a lot more decisive about who you are, where in astrology, it's a bit more interpreted by the astrologer. Have you noticed that?
I mean, I think it's also because we have in human design, we have access to source material, right? So astrology, it's been so many years, it's been so many thousands of years and so many different variations. Whereas he passed away in 2011, but he did a lot of talks. There's a lot of books. There's a lot of transcriptions. We can go back and access that information. The thing that gets us in trouble in the human design world is sometimes that makes people very dogmatic, and they go, Ra said, but Ra was the first one to say, like, trust your own authority, not mine. So it gets interesting. It does get interesting.
Happened with Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, they're right off the bat, they started that. They think they know better. How do you use human design to make better decisions in your life? Like, so I guess one example would be with me, I got to sleep on it. But is there that practical for everyone as far as the way they make decisions, the way they manifest? How could you really use it? Can you give us an example other than that one?
Yeah. So we talked about your emotional authority. We talked about sacral, how the sacral works. We talked about my splenic authority. Those are going to be the top 3 most common, right? And to be able to look at it and go, that's different. And thus I don't need to compare myself. So me as a projector type in human design, that's like 20% of people. And I spent a lot of my life comparing myself to the other 80% of people that were able to like have this energy, right? Have this effervescence about them that, they could commit themselves to things that I just was like, intuitively, no. I don't think I can sustain that. Like, I don't have that level of energy. Yeah. So those are the top 3, but then we have a few other energy types that really it is quite life-changing when you go, you're the type of person that needs to soundboard before you make a decision. They go, oh my God, I always tried to do that, but I kept getting opinions and I could never make a good decision. And so you teach them, hey, set the boundary when you enter this interaction and say, I want to soundboard, I just want to hear myself talk, then they make better decisions from then on out. That would be like a self-projected projector authority, or a mental projector would be more up here in the body graph, right? It's very interesting to also look at, where did the energy centers, same way you would look at a natal chart in astrology, right? You see these night charts and the day charts and the clusters here and the clusters there. Same thing happens in human design. You see a lot of energy at the bottom. You see a very grounded person. You see a lot of energy at the top, a person who's like very active mentally. You see energy kind of spread out or in split, like multiple different centers. You go, oh, okay, they're having a different experience than I am. But for my clients, it's life-changing just for the validation to put words to the embodied lived experience that they have, right? I think astrology, you can look at it and go, okay, you've got this, square this, you've got these aspects, this thing has been a theme. But human design would talk more about how it actually feels in your body to be you, to be walking around with your aura. And this comes up very specifically in the signature and not self theme. So I talked about your strategy. If you're living your strategy appropriately, you're in your signature theme. And I use the word for you, satisfaction. Your not self theme would be frustration. And so you have this built-in compass. My signature theme is success. I want to guide people. I want to teach people. I want to show them an efficient way to get from A to Z. Right. But if I'm not doing that, I feel like I'm not seen. I feel like I'm not an expert in my field. Then I'm in bitterness. And these words are just so poetic, but also they just hit you in your feels if you're that type, right? You're like, oh gosh, I felt that my whole life, So that's another compass that we use in human design to kind of manage energy well.
Yeah. And the only thing I hear talking about energy other than Reiki, I have to say within the arts, it's interesting in that regard and it helps you with that. Does it work with relationships? Because, in astrology, I can run a chart for the two of you if two come together and merge as one, or a relationship that is based on progressions.
Yeah.
How can you know in your human design chart, like either transform yourself to connect to other people, or whether that's romantic or friendship, or would it be the other way around, like finding the right person, I guess, would be another alternative to that.
Yeah.
Not transform, but find the right.
It's funny. Like before I agreed to come on the podcast, I was very insistent. I was like, you have to give me Christopher's birth info. You have to give me the birth so that I could look at the connection chart between us. Because when I am working with someone or communicating with someone, I want to know our what we create together. And my contribution versus your contribution, right? I have so much openness that I don't want to show up and feel railroaded, for example.
Right.
But when I looked at our chart, we had where you have like maybe half of a gate hanging, my gate comes and plugs in, and now we can express each other, right? We both have energy in the throat center rather than just you. And so for me, I'm like, oh, okay, that's a good sign for me on a podcast to have two, we call them electromagnetics, where my energy plugs into your energy and now new energy is available for both of us. Communication is easy, it's seamless, it's flowy. And so when you're looking at relationships, you can look at the chart overall, or you can look in specificity. I'm looking for a relationship with communication, or I'm looking for a relationship with a lot of passion and desire and drive and depth and thoroughness. Or I'm looking for a relationship with a lot of independence and freedom. And you'll see that come through on a connection chart. So when you're looking at your human design chart, we basically take one and layer it over the other, and we see what we make new, similar to a synastry.
What about with like design partnerships and teams? Like, I am an emotional projector. No, I'm an emotional generator. So what complements that with work?
So we have another chart that we call a penta, where we can put 3 to 5 people together, but it's too much to look at every single gate, every single energy center. And so we look at the gates that are influential for leadership. For example, we go, okay, do we have all of those when we put all of these people together? And so now you can go very intentionally into this meeting and say, okay, you've got this, I've got this, and we're going to be able to move this forward with this energy, right? We're going to have direction for our group. And you can also see what's missing if there is something missing, because often I see this in romantic relationships and in businesses. Often when something's missing, we immediately just blame the other person. We go, you're not enough for me. You're not doing enough. You're not doing it right. instead in human design, we can look at the chart and go, well, that's just missing for all of us. And so we just need to pull in another person, or we need to go find that energy elsewhere, right? So like my clients who have been married for a really long time, and they have a couple of energy centers that just remain undefined in their connection. And they go, my partner just isn't emotionally thorough enough for me. This isn't deep. And we go, okay, the emotional center is undefined. I'm not saying leave. I'm just saying get your emotional depth from another family member. Call your best friend. Like, you know, go hang out with your cousin. Like, stop looking at him. It's never going to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. I see what you're saying. And I see a lot of times they, like you said, they expect the other to fill in that gap, or they've been in codependencies where it did. You know, so like now that relationships are moving on, they're like, where's the codependency? You know, it's almost like it's two autonomous. It's interesting to see those dynamics, but I didn't know that it plugged and played like that with human design. So what you were saying is that, for the perfect company, I like one of everything, like a symphony of designers, and with the predominance of one kind or another. I mean, can you design the perfect company staff, for instance?
I mean, technically you could. So there's two different things we're talking about. When we look at a penta, we're looking at the gates that are around the G center, because this is going to give us direction and purpose. But you can also say, hey, we've got a lot of energy here. We're really excited, but we need to get organized, or we need to create a system around this. Then you would pull in a projector, because projectors are just going to naturally absorb and amplify all of that enthusiasm and go, okay, but I can make this a step-by-step process. Or if you're feeling stagnant, right? Like it's just nothing's moving, you might pull in a manifestor to initiate you, right? To put you on a new path, to like light your fire. If you're like me and you're a projector and you're like, this is just too much work, I don't have the energy to back it up, I always bring in manifesting generators for project management, for virtual assistants. And I don't even try. It's just my energy just attracts someone that has that much energy, and they go, yeah, I want to do that for you. I go, great, because I never wanted to do it. I'll give you the system, and I need you to fill in the system with your energy. This is how these work together.
Interesting. With your energy. I want to talk about your own personal journey, but we got to take a little break first. Okay. When we come back, I want to know how you got into this and found your blueprint. We'll be right back.
Aloha! I'm Mary, and I'm inviting you to experience the mystical world of the tarot with me. As a tree-hugging dirt worshiper, a retired wildlife biologist, and a sprite of the forest, my readings take you into the realms of elemental creativity to unearth a deeper awareness for those big decisions that you have in life. The first 50 viewers to email me with the coupon code below and book a reading will receive 50% off that reading. I can't wait to see what the cards have in store for you. Mahalo nui loa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Brazleton, the architect of the program and founder of Sage Prosperity Partners. I am excited for you to start your journey in having prosperity in a way you've never had it before. Join me this fall for a couple of different cohorts that are starting. I am the facilitator. For a limited time, Sirius Joy members will receive a discount code below, and I look forward to seeing you this fall.
All right, we are back, and we are here with the human design expert. It's so nice to have you on our show. And I want to know, when it comes to your own personality and your own personal expressions, how did you find this journey? Like, how did you stumble into it in your own life? Was it like a huge decision that come across your lap? Was it fated? You know, how to enter?
I find that most people have human design introduced to them. Like, it's just such a hard thing to dive into on your own. Like, somebody's got to talk you into it because it looks very complex at first glance. And that's what happened. My ex-husband said, hey, you're into astrology. I bet you'll like this. And he showed it to me. And I was like, listen, I don't want any of that calculus. I don't want any of that algebra. That looks like math. That's not for me. But he showed me a site that would appeal to him. So it was like primary colors, black background, you know, and I just thought, there's no way. And I had a newborn at the time also. I said, there's no way. But once it was there, once it kind of like worked its way into my aura, it just started showing up everywhere. I saw it on social media, and it was all the time. And I thought, maybe there's something here, but I still wasn't interested in being a projector, because I was that doesn't sound cool. I already got Aquarius, the water bearer, like this, come on. Like, I don't want to be a projector now. I don't want anything to do with that. But I have 2 sons, and my oldest son is a manifester, and manifestors really do initiate us. And he was a very difficult toddler. Imagine having a toddler that you can't tell what to do. I mean, most toddlers are that way, but this one was really, really quite stubborn. And this is the essence of the manifestor type. They want to forge the path. They want to do the things that's never been done before. They are, and they have their compass of peace versus anger. Peace is when you get out of my way and let me do whatever I want. And anger is when you try to stop me. And so I learned human design, the manifestor type, before I really even learned my type. And it changed the way that I parented. It changed the way that I interact with my kids. It really changed my entire life. I learned about human design right before, it was 2018. So right before COVID, and then getting divorced, I went into the most difficult season of my life. And of course, all these terrible transits from 35 to 42,
Yep.
It helped me manage. It helped me understand. It helped me not turn all my energy in on myself and go, something really must be wrong with me. Right? I must be just faulty.
Not only does, I think that's true for the esoteric arts that are accurate, which so far everyone's been that I've looked at, but like, there's I'm not crazy. There's something bigger than me in the universe. There's also maybe like an exhale, that because there's no sign of heaven until then, like in modern religion and whatnot, the I'm not crazy thing. That's also cool, like, because I think a lot of times people thought they're crazy or the only one going through a particular thing, and you realize, oh no, everyone does that. It's like they do, because there's just so much we don't share, modern. And there's also patience. Once you see it works out once, you just sort of kind of relax and count on it happening again. So there's a lot of benefit from studying something like this. You yourself, though, have had a personal journey that was big as well, right? Like, you made a huge decision to downsize everything at one point in your life, leave the United States, I'm understanding, and rebuild your life by creating what you call the energetic blueprint. So what made you take this leap, first of all? What was the inspiration?
So a big part of it is what we've been talking about, which is trusting yourself as the authority.
Yes.
And being from the United States originally, there's just always an authority. There's just always someone who convinces you that they know better than you. And I always had this, inkling that I wanted to live a non-mainstream life, and really no one could tell me anything. And I got really sick. So I'm 41, I'm about to be 42. I got really sick when I was early 20s, like 23, 24, and lifetime diagnosis. They said, there's nothing you can do about it. This is your life now.
Wow.
I had very expensive medication. There were a lot of side effects, and they just said it's neurological, and that's it. This is how you live now, and you just have to accept it. And I said, absolutely not. There's no way, right? And so I made myself the authority. I said, I get to choose what my life will look like. I get to choose how my body functions from here on out. And that's not to judge or shame anybody who feels like they are, at a point where they can't choose how their body functions. But for me, being young and 24, I thought, no, there's got to be more than this. And that's the first time I let go of authority, right? When I stopped looking to doctors to be the authority of my body, right? And then I became very self-directed in my own learning process. And my kids are also unschooled. They're self-directed in their learning process, and I've gotten to observe that. And so I let go of teachers, the authority, the only way that you can learn, right? And being a woman, right? I let go of men being the authority, and the patriarchy being the authority over how my body works and the rhythms of my body. And so it was just this constant shedding, to where I actually ended up just shedding everything, all of my stuff. I sold my car. I sold all of my furniture. Like I live out of 2 luggages, and right now I'm in Mexico City. I just had the best food of my life right before I got on this call, and it feels good, right? It feels good in my body. I feel free, and I feel like it's always my decision. I can always go back if I want to. I can always get a white picket fence if I desire that. But right now, I'm healthy. I have time. I have energy, and I love what I do, so I can just do it from anywhere. And my kids are world schoolers, so they've been to more countries than I have at this point, and it feels good. It feels freeing. to allow yourself to be the authority and to not have to check in with everybody about every decision. You know, it's very scary when it's outside of you, in my experience.
I've always been the authority, and my mom says since age 2. Like, I don't know what it was, but I was just that kid. But just the authority of me, not over others. You know, just the authority of me. It's an excuse, but so it's interesting to see. I'm always surprised that people don't have that in them. That it's like, what? Well, who's running this show? You know, kind of thing. That always throws me off a little bit. So it's interesting being both sides of it. Yeah. But you took it and you ran, and you know, so how did living according to your design? I guess did you at some point like say, I'm gonna try this shit, and like scientifically just start like day by day trying to apply it literally? Because I know even like Buddhism, I've studied all sorts of systems of belief structure. They all have methodologies and things like that. And usually it's very long-winded and takes a long time, but you follow it. And sure enough, I find in most of them that I practice, you sure as hell do get a response, you know, a certain amount of time. The shift works. I've noticed with, you know, human design, the little I've seen, it works really well. Have you done something where you just followed it to the T and gotten a result? Or because it sounds like you had just intuitively kind of already noticed to some degree, like it's coming from
I mean, it's my life, but in the past I would question it. And then after learning human design, I got to the point where there's no question, right? My authority is my authority. And I don't sit and overthink it, and I don't process it, and I don't bounce ideas off of other people. I just go, okay, I feel it. I feel it instinctively and intuitively in my body. And that's that. That's it. That's the end. But a lot of people, I think most, right? They have that like inner knowing, but then they have the conditioning that says, however, I'm supposed to check in with you. However, this is the right way. However, I have to get, you know, insurance. I've got to get the 9 to 5. I've got to feel secure. I've got to feel safe. I've got to follow the rules. And so it's that they get that initial spark of, oh, I really want to do this. And then they get the conditioning and the question. And so they go into, I froze for a second.
Oh, wow. That was weird.
Not self. And they say, oh, okay, maybe I'll stay here a while and question myself and overprocess. And it's helped me a lot business-wise to go, okay, this is the trajectory that I'm on, the end, right? Even looking at my nodal placements, I have Gemini in the 10th to just go, I'm going to have a career of talking at people. Coming from an introvert, okay, a person like I was basically mute as a child, a very, very shy person, okay, very quiet, very reserved.
Me too. Yeah. I never imagined being on camera ever.
Yeah.
And when I did, I was like, damn, that came so naturally. I had no idea where they came from. It's really interesting in that sense. So would you say, we were talking earlier about different charts. The chart that's human design that we see that you interact with is different from the chart of your creation, right? And I think I asked this question, but I didn't get a satisfying answer. Like, have you seen like what the creation is inside of you? So I'm curious about like identified, because for me, when I looked at creation, it looked like things I aim for inside myself, but haven't told anyone, like the secret things I aim for. But they're sort of like quiet, silent goals in the outer world. So it's almost a paradoxical reverse. Like the creation chart was what I secretly want to be. And then what I'm doing natally is like sort of my cover story.
Yeah, I mean, I use the source language of personality and design. So the personality is going to be the right column and the design is going to be the left column. Okay. And with hundreds of readings and working with clients, you see the surprise of, oh yeah, on the design side, oh yeah, that's what I've always been told, but I didn't really know. Like I didn't really know that was me, right? Or I didn't really trust that was 100% me.
Right.
It's unconscious to you, right? So it's more of all these gifts that you came in with, the things you got from your parents, you know, this whole body, right? This whole vessel that has its own mind, right? for lack of a better word. And then there's the personality side that's like very affirming, very validating. Oh, yeah, that's me. Yeah, I like that about myself. That's that affirms me. And so let's see, like to give context, okay, you have the, I don't know if you've looked into incarnation crosses at all, but you have the incarnation cross of explanation. And our incarnation cross comes from our top two gates, the sun and the earth gates on both sides, right? So it gives this combination of personality and design, right? It's you express physically and mentally. But for you, the explanation is more on the mental side, right? You're always in your own head structuring things out. It might not be something that someone would immediately resonate with the first time that they come across you, unless you are soundboarding with, unless you're talking it out with them, right? You have to bring that out. But on the design side, you have gate 49 in the sun placement. It's very revolutionary. And so usually when you start to work with someone new, they go, oh my gosh, he's doing something that's not been done before. I want to be on board with this because this is an emotional revolution, because gate 49 is in our solar plexus system, right? And so this is how I explain to my clients, right? For me, I have gate 7 and 13 on the personality side. So I want to be this really good listener. I want to be a good communicator. I want to be a leader. This is me for myself. But on the design side, people see me as very relatable, very creative, okay, very down to earth, just very natural. And that's gates 1 and 2 on the other side. But that's not easy for me to see in myself, right? I don't look at myself and go, I'm authentic. Sometimes I think I'm not, right? But they go, oh my gosh, no, you're so like, grounded, you're so down to earth. And every time you talk, I feel like I get direction. I get, I get a better understanding. That's my cross of the Sphinx. When you come across my aura, you know, you're reoriented, you have a compass. And when someone comes across your aura, they now have this new way of structuring perspectives and points of view and thoughts. And this is what each aura does. But I always look at it as conscious and unconscious, personality, the design. And the design for me, and other people may say it differently, but for me, it's really that first interaction that others have with you. It's what they see that you often don't see because it's unconscious to you. But when I tell you and I go, okay, this is here, this is what people are experiencing, you go, okay. Many of my clients go, okay, I'm going to put that in my marketing because now it's relatable. It sounds authentic, right? It makes sense. That's what they're experiencing. And I want to give that right back to them, give them the words for their experience of me. So there are different ways to explain it, but that was
good. So it's what part was that? What gate? I mean, I had a gate. Are you looking at, is there a gate that says this is what you just described, or you were looking at an interpretation of several things in my chart that right to that conclusion? That's what I'm curious
So
about.
I'm looking at the top 2. So for anybody listening, if you look on the personality side, the very top, it's the sun. This we call your leading gate, very similar to the sun sign in astrology. And it is your sun sign in astrology, okay? It's just going to in a gate, so it's a little more specific. So my leading gate is gate 13, but I'm also in Aquarius, right? And because of the degree of Aquarius I'm in, that's the gate that I land in. So your leading gate is gate 23. And this is about expressing out this new way of structuring ideas and thoughts and perspectives and points of view. You're just a natural at it. Like it's your gift, but it often our gifts have to be earned.
Oh yeah, of course. Thousands.
Yeah.
And that's what step 23 is. It's knowing. And knowing in astrology is that you feel and believe it both at the same time. And the combination of the harmonic between feeling and believing being congruent, being together gives this sense of knowing, what we call knowing. I just know it's true.
Yeah. But the interesting thing is you are bringing something non-mainstream, right? Yeah. You're bringing knowing to others of something that is true, but they're like, I've never heard that before. This is new for me, right? So you have this difficult task of structuring things in a way. You explain something that is completely non-mainstream that they never heard of before.
It's my talent. It's a weird talent. It's a very weird talent. There's also a sense of like, yeah, he does know. But where'd that come from? Like there's some sort of like handshake on an aura level. It's like, yeah, he does know. And I've never known what that was exactly, because a lot of times I didn't. In the beginning, well, that was the thing. When you channel information, you don't technically know because you're hearing it for the first time. But it's a complicated paradox, and you have to just like trust that, right?
Yeah.
So you talk about this shift that happens when people, finally stop trying to fit in to the world and start building something based on their natural gifts instead. So what does that transformation really look like? Because a lot of people I've seen try to do that, they just, for some reason, they just realize they just cannot make, a business out of eating cupcakes or something. It's like, they trying to be who they really are. They just can't like kickstart into that value proposition of of capitalism and that sort of thing. But yeah, it is there somehow, it is there. So what have you seen with this, about taking natural gifts and making that who you are? Like, give an example that it works.
I talk about this a lot. In human design because I have a passion for entrepreneurship and business and living a non-mainstream life. But I guide my clients to look at that design side, okay? Because where they come from is looking at everybody else, looking at social media, looking at what already exists and trying to like finagle how they feel into that box and make it fit. Okay. And I go, no,
Right.
no, that's, or I'll say that's way too vague. You're talking to everybody and thus you're talking to no one. And so I tell them, like, we look at the sun and earth because we want to be able to describe what people experience of us, right? The very first thing that kind of pops into their mind when we show up on screen or in a call or in a session. And then I guide people to their Mercury and Venus placements in their design side, right? So you might be called to talk about a certain topic, but other people might hear something completely different than what you think you're saying, right? So for me,
Right.
I have gate 61 on my personality side in Mercury. I am personally drawn and can just yap about, any spiritual system all day, every day. 61 is the gate of mystery. It's basically where the third eye is. Like, that's what I think I'm talking about. But mostly people are hearing this non-mainstream life that I have, right? The way that I just do things so differently and don't care. And that's 43 on my design side. And so I learned to kind of mesh those together and give a very clear and specific message. The same thing with Venus. We can see what's valuable about us, and we can also see like what people love about us. We can also see what people see that we have overcome, right? That makes us now valuable and lovable. And so when you take these different gates and you give very specific messages to it, and you combine with their specific interest, eating cupcakes, we go, okay, you're going to eat cupcakes, but you're going to eat cupcakes in a way that caters to sensitivity and psychic awareness, right? If that's the gate that you have. And they go, oh, okay, I was trying to eat cupcakes like the other lady, right? And I just can't do it like her, but I want to be as successful as her, and I want to be as successful as her yesterday.
Right.
No, there's specificity to your chart. And again, that design side helps me and helps my clients a lot to say, here's what people actually see. You think you're saying this, but this is what they're actually experiencing of you. Now let's put it all together and give a concise message and something that actually has an impact.
So actually experiencing, would that mean that there's a calculation as to, like in astrology, I can see very clearly law of attraction in action, right? So it's like, I have this knowledge, you don't have this knowledge, you're attracted to the fact that the person who does. So there's a clear attraction, there's a hidden energetic motive, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of calculatable, and they didn't realize they're doing an exchange, in the whole process. They just like someone who's finally listening and that sort of thing. Is there that kind of plug and play as well, like a missing gate, and I'm dating a person who has the gate, and then we're just gonna go get all gatey and
Yeah.
With the gates on the gates.
My favorite way to describe the energy center. So we're looking at the 9 big shapes. Okay. Some of them for you are colored in, some of them are not. And that's the case for most charts. The ones that are not colored in are always going to be the most intriguing, right? It's an experience that we don't have that we want to have. And I always call it's like an appliance. It's fully functioning. You own it. It's your appliance. It's just not plugged in right now.
Right.
But it's great. It does amazing things. It's got all of these functions, right? It's got all these buttons. And we're just waiting to plug it in. And so we can plug it in a transit because we're going to move across the wheel the exact same way, right? We're going to go through 64 gates, similar to astrology. Or you can plug into a person that turns that center on for you, and now new energy is available. And when you're with that person, you go, oh, I feel this thing that I didn't feel before. So for you and I, like my best friend that I'm traveling with, she has her one center defined that I don't have defined. And it's very rare that it is colored in for me. But when I'm around her, suddenly I have willpower. Suddenly I have motivation, right? I've been taking her to the gym with me, and I go for double the time that I would go by myself. And she's not saying anything. She's not trying to motivate me. It's just the fact that her energy is present. I get to absorb and amplify in the center that I have undefined. We get in trouble. You talked about codependence. We get in trouble when we go, I'm missing that, and it's bad if I don't have it. And thus I can't let you go. Or thus something's wrong with me if I can't find that energy. That's not true, right? You get to go, I'm going to look at my definition and see that as my strength. And I'm going to be surprised by what comes and goes from my energy. And I'm just going to not be attached.
Right. And it's a series of lessons too. It's not lifelong. I mean, in astrology, we have tried this, Saturn's been in Pisces now for the last 3 years, first time since the, mid-90s. So actually when you were born. So when you were born, we had the last one. So it's a long time, but here it is again. And here we are doing it all over again. So do you cycle like that also in human design, where you go through cycles and you get to see the same cycle again next time?
Yeah, so the same way that I described a connection chart, we can do a transit chart where we layer the energy of now over your energy, and we say what's new, what's available. So with Pluto being in Aquarius, it's going to be in a certain gate for a while, right? It was here, and then it retrograded, and then it came back, but you're going to have that gate turned on in your chart for the duration. But it's we have like 6 or 7 gates per sign, right? So it's going to change more often, but you'll be able to kind of track that energy with the shorter term transits and the longer term transits, and to be able to say, oh, I'm going to have for you maybe like crown definition. I'm going to feel a little bit more inspired, right? Or maybe what I convey is a little more inspiring than normal because I have something plugged in for X amount of months or years or however long it may be. Or you can partner with someone that would connect that energy for you. But yeah, we look at transits similarly. It's just that they actually plug into the body graph. And so you see a new body graph that shows the transiting energy.
Huh. Interesting. I did not know that until tonight. Now, can someone find out what their natural gifts are or life purpose by looking at their human design chart?
Yeah, I mean, we touched on that a little bit with the incarnation cross.
Right.
And so it's your sun and earth, and we call it a cross because sun and earth are opposite in the chart, right? So it actually makes an X because we have that square that you talked about earlier. And so it's the impact that your aura has on others when you cross their path, whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not, right? It just is. It is impactful in that way. And so when you understand it and you take ownership and you go, that is my energy, that is what I'm here to do. Now you're able to have this specific purpose and direction similar to the nodes. And the nodes are also in your chart, but in human design, we describe the nodes more as like the environments that you find yourself in that push you in the direction of your purpose. And then the incarnation cross is more like auric, right? It's more like this auric impact that you have. So anytime I bump into people, they get this, especially if they're open to it, right? They get this new direction, they get this new purpose. Maybe they channel a little bit more self-love than they had before, because I like to talk about acceptance, and I can't help but do that. But knowing it allows me to kind of focus in and go, yeah, that's really a strength that I have. And then I tell you, and then you affirm that back to me. And so for you with the cross of explanation, very similar. You go, you know what? I'm really good at taking things from the ethers and then structuring it out and expressing it to you so that you can take on this new non-mainstream thought, right? So you can manifest something new that you didn't even think of before. There's like 194 incarnation crosses. And so these different gifts and these impacts that we have, but when you observe it, it's really quite fascinating to see that it really is what happens. Even if someone knows not the first thing about human design, you see that that's the little ripple effect that they create without even trying.
Yeah. Well, interesting. A little ant that walks out and teaches you something, like a little piece of you. Do you find that this is helpful in the sense of midlife crisis, these moments of that you go into, because in astrology from about 44 until 52, it sucks, right?
Yeah.
As you go through your kind of return, your kind of Uranus opposing Uranus. Is there, does Ra speak of these moments? I mean,
he does, and we look at the connection chart, right? The energy that shows up for the duration of that transit, and we go, okay, during, like, for example, I said that I'm splenic. Okay, I'm like lizard brain, and I'm Aquarius sun and moon. I'm such an airhead. I'm just really fast moving, and if it doesn't feel safe, I just don't go, and I don't think about it anymore. I don't question it. But maybe during a transit, something lights up that makes me emotional authority, and so I go, during this specific time, maybe I should pace myself a little more, right? Maybe I should be a little more curious. Maybe I should say no, right? Or be friends first, or sleep on it. This doesn't change who I am natally, but if things are feeling really difficult, right? Things are feeling really hairy, we can look at that transit chart and we can say, well, some new energy is here, right? So you have access to a different way of decision making during this time, because this time's a little harder. Maybe you need to slow down a little bit.
Right, exactly. Well, and there's deeper stuff coming up, right? I mean, does human design say there's something hiding here, there's something hiding there? Because planets do that. When planet conjuncts, when Chiron returns, it returns to its source position, and so a lot of information just becomes clear. It's back to source. It's a tour around the whole chart, around the whole soul. It's taken 49.5 years to get there. It's the oh my god I'm 50 crisis, that sort of thing. But there's a release of information, a release of knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah, I always call it emphasis. So if someone natally has, some conjunctions, we would see that in the human design chart, and we would see multiple placements in the same gate. And I would just say there's emphasis there. Right?
Right.
You've got this theme showing up more than once. You might need to like spend some time here. And so when we have transiting, conjunction, emphasis, right? That specific theme, that specific gate that's in your chart, now we can look at it through the context of the energy center that it's in and the energy that you carry natally. And we can go, maybe look at that a little bit longer right now.
Exactly. The themes. I find that with the step numbers too. You'll see the step numbers of the step, the gate numbers, I guess, in your world, but over and over and over again. And the net results as well. You see it like a whole chart that has a whole slew of 13s, for instance, like you. I bet you have another 13 in your chart, at least one. And you certainly have at least one net 4 where it adds to 4 also. That's a cosmic theme where you're in and out. So it's interesting stuff. Well, you've been a delight. The time has gone by really quickly. And we can't. But I'd like to know, can people get their chart done with you? Like how they can work with you directly? Are there classes, are there webinars? What do you do, girl?
Yeah. So being a projector, love to project my energy. My website, okay, if you're like, oh, this is really interesting, but I'm still brand new. When you I have a chart generator on my website, which is feelgoodhumandesign.com. When you pull your chart, all of the chart properties are linked to free video explanations. It's just going to take you right back to YouTube, and you'll get like real quick snippets, explanations of what each of the chart properties is. Okay, that's the starting point. Cool. If you're more of a visual learner like me and you want to download something, there's a report that's in the $20 range that really talks about your strategy, your authority, but I also talk about your variables, which would be digestion, environment, perspective, motivation. And I love to focus on the energy centers and what it feels like to be in alignment and to be not self, depending on how those are activated. So that's all on the landing page of my website, feelgoodhumandesign.com. I have a course where I teach human design. I have some of my clients here in the chat talking about having taken the course, and that I think it's the easiest way to learn human design ever created, because I knew how to layer the info, again, projector vibes, to say, you must learn this before you learn this. And before you learn this, go ahead and look at that. And so it's a really concise way of moving through the chart and understanding how to read charts. The other thing that's like current is I'm doing human design business audits. So if there are any entrepreneurs listening that want me to glance at their chart, it's a free 15-minute call. That's what I replace my readings with. I do calls all day Monday where I talk about what we just talked about. I'll look at your sun and earth. I'll look at your Venus and Mercury. I'll listen to what you're currently doing, and I'll tell you how to get more specific and to monetize your gifts if that's what you choose to do. So those happen every Monday. And the openings, it's first come, first serve, but there's a wait list. The openings are every Sunday. So that's currently everything that I have going.
Wow, that's excellent. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be at one of them. Thank you, Tangie, for being here.
I would love that.
It's a great conversation. No, I totally will. It'll be fun. I hope you don't mind.
Nice.
I'll wear a disguise, so it won't be distracting. But it's great. I love human design. I've told our staff that, I see it may be very possible that human design takes the lead as the premier tool of spiritual understanding in the new era. Yeah. And astrology becomes more of an engine in the background, kind of the calculus calculator, because you don't have to learn that whole system, now that we don't have to do the math anymore, and so human design's got a lot of interesting aspects. And the thing about human design that I find most interesting is like, it seems to be pointing the whole world towards a better place. And that was one thing that astrology did not do, at least when I found it. I get a book, I read a book, it's like, Mars is squared. Oh, you're screwed. You really should just not go to prison. You're likely going to have, your children will leave you, your wife will leave you. It's like, oh my God, like it was pretty much black or white. Human design, it's white, and you take as long as you want to get there, honey. Like this seems to be like human design is. It has this predetermination of good. So for that reason, I like Ra, and I'm a big fan. So
yeah, it's interesting. I like it too.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, have a great weekend, I guess, into this Virgo energy. We'll have you back again, maybe for some sort of special assignment. It'd be fun.
Would love that. Thank you.
Thank you. See you next time. Anyway, little sound effects. Those like Jedi moves, right? So, wow, that was great. And I learned a little bit more. And I can't believe how many times I have to be told this over and over again. And I still start to absorb it. It's funny when you're real stuck in a system, it is hard to bridge to another system. But I'll tell you, when I learned a second system that plugs into astrology, and I had that before, there's other things like numerology and the step astrology, you end up mastering both systems as a result. it's almost like a good study technique, you know? And so we'll be going down this path a lot in the future, I feel, and working it into our work at Sirius Joy as well. So I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight and being part of this interview with us and being part of with us on every week. We love it. We're going to see you Namaste and Astro Mingle 1 week from now. And it's going to be a fantastic weekend of changing your life and a lunar eclipse to come. So we may all look different and be different next week, but our hearts will be in the same place. Thanks for coming. We'll see you next week. I love you. Live, love, be.
Coming up next week on Sirius Joy TV. Join Sensei Christopher and co-host psychic medium Scott Cruz live on Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. You'll never guess what they'll talk about next. Then, tune into Astro Mingle for an enchanting conversation with intuitive soul alchemist Igor Galabov. Igor has appeared on many popular podcasts to share his extraordinary out-of-body spiritual awakening and the revelations he received while traveling beyond. The best in enlightened entertainment, only